Greetings, friends. It's Coleraine or Coleraine Tarot here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them, and today what I'm creating for you on this beautiful Imbolc evening is a reading focused on helping you to clarify where your creative focus, your creative energy, and your creative intentions should be directed at this time. Imbolc is a beautiful holiday from the Gaelic calendar, which focuses on helping us to plant seeds. Whether we're doing this literally or metaphorically, this time period helps us to envision our futures and move forward with our creative intentions and our creative focuses. And so I want to lean into this theme by helping to assist you with planting these seeds in your life, whatever time it may be for you. This video is also being filmed directly after the full moon in Leo. So if you have strong Leo placements in your chart, this energy of this time in this reading is going to be focused on supporting that energy as well. And it's just going to be infused with that Leo full moon energy that we have in 2026 around the Imbolc time. So if you are watching this at any time, this is a timeless reading. Also, I want to give a disclaimer that this is for a general audience, so this is not a personal reading. My intention, hopefully, is that it feels like a personal reading, but if you would like a personal reading, I have those available if you contact me. Otherwise, these are your piles to select from today. We have group 1 with the chrysocolla on it, group 2 with this petrified wood piece, and group 3 with this raw rose quartz. So when you are ready, there will be description or timestamps in the description box below, and I will see you in your group. Greetings, group 1. If you selected this first group with the chrysocolla, this is your reading. So chrysocolla, to begin with, in terms of how you want to direct your spiritual energy, your creative focus, your creative intention, chrysocolla is really great for finding the flow in your life and for connecting to mother energy, or the great goddess, however you want to look at her. Many different mother deities coming through for this group. But there's definitely something about you working with that energy of nurturing, the energy of care, the energy of staying consistent with something that you are manifesting, connecting to also like maybe even parenting literally if you're trying to start a family, but for others of you, this is talking about maybe reparenting yourself, connecting with your own the energy of mothering in your life. So yeah, there's something about birth and birthing, and maybe your creative energy wants to be focused on something related to that birthing process, and it may be like a painful process as well, is what I'm feeling, especially with this water of the chrysocolla, and this is copper, so this is also like it's made from copper in the earth, so there's something about like antibacterial, like purging out the poisons that's going on with this. So let's see what the cards have to say from the Kantaji Oracle, which I was gifted by my partner's mom, so more mothering energy there. And this is really activating my throat too. So, and you have that blue crystal. So there's something here about expressing and letting things come forward, letting things come out, speaking up, expressing, conversing. And when this deck is so beautiful and so earthy, so I'm really grateful that she gave this to me, and I feel like it's perfect for this season. But where your creative energy should be focused is starting out with this card of what the worms know. What the worms know. And so this is things beneath the surface. And that's what I was feeling with this chrysocolla too, like finding things beneath the surface and allowing them to come forward. This is like a wisdom too, like The worms, they only come out when it's raining. Like, what do the worms know? Why do they all come out when the water appears? There's something about water wisdom, and that's where your creative focus should be headed on this water wisdom type of path. There's something about the blood too. Even in this chrysocolla piece, there are some little spots of red where it turns into cuprite. So there's definitely kind of almost like a primal knowing that needs to come forward for where your creative energy should be focused. This is like focusing on things that actually have sustenance or substance that can feed you. Because worms, what they're really related to is like their function in the ecosystem is breaking things down, creating, again, like sustenance from like garbage, from waste. And actually they create fertility and richness and the ability to rebirth. You know, no good garden is complete without worms. So there's something about the worms have a knowledge of how to break things down, to turn them into something that is fertile. So again, we're getting this message. It is very literal because of when I am filming this and the energy of this time, but there's just something about fertility, birthing, motherhood. But even beyond that, like that gendered construct of the mother, there's just something about parenting, of nurturing something into being with what the worms know. Let me check and see what the guidebook has to say about this. Yes, looking in the guidebook, this is saying about having a guaranteed stream of sustenance. They're literally using that word, so I love that that came through in my channeled message for this card. So this is talking about having that guaranteed stream of sustenance that will provide for you, and kind of like living simply, like not getting too complicated in how you live your life and how you prioritize and value things in your life. It's like getting down to the nitty gritty. And I think that's why there was this energy of like the mother with that chrysocolla in what you chose. Like there's this energy of like knowing what is essential for your well-being, to help you to feel comforted, to help you to feel like you are taken care of. This is really where your creative energy should be focused right now. So yeah, the keynote says, cultivate humility with dignity. Tend to your physical body, but be unattached to it. The lowest is in some ways the mightiest. And so it's saying like, the worms know they will always be fed, for all living things eventually fall back down to their realm. So it's like, because everything breaks down, because everything will eventually, you know, become food for the worms, there's something beautiful in having that foundation and being able to touch those roots of life and know that like that will always be there for when you do want to grow and build on top of it. And I feel like this is also another message coming through. I heard from somebody's spirit guide, like this, like let them know that this is not the extent, but this is what they need to be able to reach higher later. So it's like your spirit guides really want you to focus your creative energy on making sure that you have your basic needs met, so that you can believe that something's better for you and you can feel safe enough to take risks at other times. And the worms know that the simplest things are oftentimes the most fulfilling consistently. So let's see what else you have. Your group got a ton of tarot cards, so it may cover up your main oracle card, and they're kind of blending into my rug here, so hopefully you can still see that imagery. But yeah, you had 4 tarot cards come out. I was just intending for 1, but when spirit speaks, I'm gonna listen, okay? So let's see. So you have the Knight of Swords, lots of swords energy. 3 of these 4 cards are air. So when I'm seeing a majority or dominant air sign in a reading, this is showing that there is an abundance of mental energy, an abundance of energy around communication. Again, with that throat chakra coming up, that energy of expressing yourself, of getting your truth from below the surface and allowing it room to breathe. For a lot of you, I do feel like something that's going to be important for you at this time is, like in the birthing process, there's a lot of breath work that happens. And so I feel like for a lot of you, getting very consistent and specific with a routine for activating your conscious breathing, for activating your, is it your parasympathetic nervous system? Hopefully I'm correct on that. The one that regulates and helps bring you out of a fight or flight state, which I think is in the sympathetic nervous system activation. Helping to switch that is going to also help you to realize that you're setting a new foundation of safety in your body in this new creation cycle. But because you have that abundance of air, this is talking about things beginning with the mind and being focused on changing the mind. So you have the 5 of Swords here. This is really standing out to me because it's talking about knowing when to walk away from certain battles, knowing when to give up a fight, knowing when enough's enough and it's time to move on. And I also feel like with the 5 of Swords there too, it's knowing when a certain thought or a certain behavior pattern that's coming from thoughts is it's time to make a shift. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be like an overwhelming situation or something that's really overly triggering, but it can just be the simple recognition of like, hey, I'm doing this, it's coming from this thought pattern or this belief system that I have, and I'm consistently thinking these thoughts that reinforce this behavior that is not making me feel good, or it's having negative effects in my relationships or on my body and things like this. And so this 5 of Swords is actually a point where it's a positive turning point, even though it seems to be one of these challenge cards in the 5s. And it sometimes other readers might make it out to be such a challenge, but I really feel like the 5 of Swords is this underrated epiphany moment where we're realizing, hey, this pattern and this thought system is actually reinforcing this unnecessary struggle in my life. And so this is a really beautiful moment for clearing the thoughts. With the Knight of Swords over here too, this is saying that you are going to be then going out in the world and expressing this, no matter how thorny, no matter how like desolate, no matter how grim things may seem, there's going to be some kind of effect that you are sharing with the world, that you're enacting on the world through your conscious thoughts and how they are affecting your actions and the kind of belief system that you want to share with the world as being possible. So yeah, there's a lot of energy moving in my body even as I'm talking about this stuff. So there's definitely something about getting more movement in your life with air. Air is a very quick element. I'd say it's one of like the quickest besides fire. So there's something about like not letting things settle too long in this next period, like allowing your creative energy to really flow and move. And I just saw 11:22 on my timer, so repeating 1s and repeating 2s might be really important signs and symbols that you are beginning to go on the right path, that you're starting in a way that has that fertile energy and is going to support your goals. So we have over here, the only earth card that you have is the 6 of Pentacles, and this shows somebody with the scales. So I'm immediately associating that with Libra, the energy of Libra, but also I'm seeing that like weighing of the heart and the feather that happens in the Egyptian death rituals and the entry into the underworld. And I'm actually... they're pointing me to not Anubis's ritual, but Ma'at's ritual with the feather. And so there's something about divine justice or some kind of balancing that's coming into your life by you moving your creative energy towards this expression and unearthing something from beneath the surface. For some of you, I'm hearing that these truths may be really hard to share. And again, I'm being pulled to that symbolism of the feather. So I don't know what the feather symbolizes for you in this situation, but it feels like a feather of truth, like feeling light as a feather, innocence, even angelic protection. And so it feels like there's something here about having some kind of truth being like having it's being presided over your life. I don't know why it's difficult for me to say that, because it feels like something. The reason why it's hard for me to define it is because it doesn't feel like you're having to force this justice to come about, but it's more of like multiple different series of events that kind of course correct. And so for some of you, this is also like a resulting legal situation, either resolving or like unfolding in your favor or in alignment with your plans. If you need some kind of like legal support or some kind of paperwork to go through, there's something about maybe even the justice system that's supporting this. In the way that I'm seeing it. But if you are a Libra or you have heavy Libra placements, that would definitely be a confirmation that this is your reading, that it is important right now for you at this time, especially with that Venusian energy, regardless of if you have Libra in your chart. There's a focus on self-care, balancing the body, finding harmony with the body, finding harmony with the society, with your community, with people in your life that you want to be close to, that you want to connect with. And the Six of Pentacles is showing that it's important to give what you'd like to receive as well. And so something that you can focus your creative energy on for some of you is maybe volunteering somewhere or offering your services. If people are asking you to help them in different ways or support their projects, check in with yourself about what your body, like the capacity that you have in your body, of course, and make sure that your schedule is harmonious as well. That's a big part of this message. But of course, offering and being able to give and put out the energy that you want to see in your immediate society or your immediate community is going to be really helpful, because that is that foundation. What the worms know that if we're giving and we are creating a better environment for all of us, that we will all benefit as well. And then over here you have the Two of Swords. So this is again, some of this like mental confusion and conflict that I'm feeling from this group is like, you may have been really confused recently about like what direction you want to take, what kind of like higher goals you want to reach for. And it feels like your guides are really saying that the focus shouldn't be on like this higher lofty goal and like where you eventually want to be. That's really nice to keep, of course, in your frame of reference, but the immediate need for your creative energy is like setting this foundation that allows you to discover what your truth is and what's been draining your energy, so that you can properly like direct that mental energy to like thinking thoughts that support this goal, having conversations that support this goal, and like really establishing that proper foundation in terms of like having the right conversations with the right people, representing yourself properly, knowing who you are, knowing how to describe what you want, all of this, and not feeling like you're hiding behind a mask in any way or like you're blinded to any truths. Because it does feel like this is a time of discovering the truth for you, and that's what your creative goals are going to be kind of directed towards. So your final card here from the Earth Alchemy Oracle is Pixie Helpers and Green Aventurine, and it says, not all wanderers are lost with the earth element. So for you, there's this balance and this dichotomy of earth and air that's been going on in this whole reading. So I wouldn't be surprised if you are an earth sign or an air sign, or you have those elements dominant in your chart. Or if you don't have those elements dominant, it might be time to work with those elements through smoke, through herbs, for air and earth. or any other combination, even like crystals like this would be a good way to work with the earth element. Singing, great way to work with the air element, anything like that. So yeah, it says clearing the way, luck and opportunity. So it feels like this time is not really about making your way forward and more about being curious and inquisitive about how your creative energy wants to pull you forward, and how you may be invited into finding, being able to spring on certain opportunities as they arise. And it almost feels like you're going to be like accepting opportunities that at first don't seem related to what you really desire, but they lead you to what you really desire in this like kind of serendipitous way. And so it definitely feels like there is some sense of fate, or like being guided, being directed in this a situation, and almost like being blind to necessarily where you are going to end up. But it does feel like the more that you give yourself the chance to dive deep and discover a little bit more of the depths of why you're using your creative energy to do the creative things that you're trying to do, the more that you're going to be able to cultivate space and create almost like a sanctuary or like a container for this to manifest, and for you to be able to articulate more clearly like the why and the how of how you want to move forward. So, and it feels like there's something like your spirit guides are kind of working with you on, because they're saying not all wanderers are lost. Like if you aren't necessarily investing your creative energy in something specific right now, you are going to eventually see it manifest. It's just about doing that in between, and caring for the little things before the big thing comes together. I hope that makes sense. And also for you, working with green aventurine, I feel like would be really, really amazing for your energy field right now, helping you to trust in that heart space, and let go of overthinking or getting caught up in the mind about where you want to be. So that is where I'm going to leave this reading for you today, Group 1. Thank you so very much for being here, for doing this work for yourself and for our collective. I want to thank you, your guides, my guides, and every other being in the universe that brought us together for this reading today. I will see you in another reading, my friend. So much love to you. Greetings, Group 2. If you selected this second group, this is going to be your reading on where should you be focusing your creative energy at this time. So I'm so excited to get right into this. You chose this petrified wood piece, and the petrified wood is such a miracle and beautiful phenomenon of nature where the wood has been crystallized. So for me, I'm just feeling a sense of strength and direction and focus in this group, and it feels like your creative energy, you've been focusing on like exactly what is meant for you, what is good for your soul, what is good for your spirit, and you have likely some idea of where your creative energy should be focused, and you're probably using this as a confirmation. So thank you. This is the best way to use tarot, but I am really grateful to be able to hopefully help provide that affirmation for you. So let's see what your first oracle card from the Kantaji Oracle is going to say. And shout out to my partner's mom for giving me this deck. This is such a beautiful addition to my collection, and I love the earth-based messages in this deck, so I hope you enjoy it too. And you have the coiled snake. So this is interesting. This feels like this is an energy of like waiting till the moment's right to strike. You've gotten all the energy kind of coiled up, ready, pent up almost, brewing within, and it's like just waiting for the right moment to launch, to be able to call in what you need and use your power. So with the snake, this is like a deeper, intuitive, body-based ancestral wisdom, this type of energy that kind of electrifies our body, like that kundalini energy that can rise up in the energy body and then be manifested outward to allow us to express our unique gifts, our unique consciousness forms, and to really bring more enlightened awareness and raise that conscious energy in whatever space that we're in. And so the coiled snake is saying that you are getting ready to affect the world essentially with your wisdom. So I'm going to read you, or just skim the guidebook and see if there's anything in the guidebook that stands out to me in terms of messages for you. So just one moment, pile two. Okay, so I literally love how these messages today have been lining up with the cards and the guidebook and everything, because the keynote of this card says, consider whether your current situation calls for you to unfurl your full power, or whether this is a time to conserve your energy and reserve your strength for another time. So group 2, definitely use your instincts and your senses to help you to discern whether the opportunities that are available to you will fully support and allow you to unleash your creative power in the ways that are going to be beneficial for your growth, beneficial for what you have to offer, beneficial for what others are capable of receiving at this time. So there's definitely this sense of like being aware of your value, where you belong, and what others are capable of receiving and nourishing from your energy. And so this is talking about like the snake coiling as a form of self-protection that allows them to keep from being prey from other animals. It's like a sense of like keeping their energy safe. And so for you, it's like about both knowing that you have this focus, you have this goal, you have these like ambitions, and you know how you want to express your creative energy, or that you can, but also recognizing that like being able to protect your creative energy is another form of like ensuring that you have it available to you when you want to use this energy in the world. So it definitely feels like this is saying like it's time to like balance the way that you protect yourself and the way that you use your power and the way that you display your power. And that's definitely what I was feeling from this petrified wood, because it feels like there is some kind of like process that you've gone through to really solidify and strengthen yourself over the last, I'd say for most of you, it's around like 3 to 5 years. And so in these last 3 to 5 years, you've really been coming into your strength, recognizing what your power means and how you can like wield it and how you can direct it. And so right now, this is about discerning like who can also handle that currency, like that frequency. And I guess currency is like more money, but like that current of energy is what I meant. But maybe it is about like where you want to like put your like monetary values and like investments essentially, because I use that word. So let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, this is about like being discerning about where and when to use your power. This is also about like recognizing how like pulling your energy in and almost like creating a sense of like accepting your what we might call like weakness at some moments helps you to actually recognize your strength. There's also some things in here about just noticing contraction and expansion in your life, and so like recognizing where things in your life maybe naturally tend to be drawn within or to be expanded outwards. Yeah, and like what role does preservation have in your life is another question that's is being kind of posed in this. So it feels like your creative energy is actually going to be about preserving your ability to sustain yourself or to maintain this level of creative strength that you've built, that you now are aware of that you have. So it's like about recognizing your creative power, learning how to wield it, effectively and responsibly, and also like recognizing where it's going to be most effective because it's going to be accepted and supported properly and nourished properly. So let's see what the tarot has to say. I'm using the Hush Tarot today, and you've got this beautiful like stormy blue color palette going on with this like kind of warm golden yellow, like it's like all the colors that are in this petrified wood mixed with that stormy blue. So, and I'm also seeing in my mind's eye petersite. So if you don't already work with petrified wood or petersite, I feel like these would be two amazing stones for you to connect with at this time to help strengthen your energy to persevere. Also, the god Vishnu is really coming through with you with this preservation energy, as well as Shiva because of the snakes. So, yeah, I feel like these would be some good energies to connect with these colors going on. But yeah, even here with the Three of Cups, this is this woman riding a black goat. Usually this would be the symbol of like a witch or someone who's been kind of vilified for their pleasure. And it really feels like for you, there's like this sense of going in and taking pleasure in like the darker parts of yourself, these kind of misunderstood parts of your own personal power. For some of you, this may even be working with the goddess Medusa because, you know, she's a very strong symbol of this misunderstood dark feminine energy that's been kind of cast into this like vilified role. And it just feels like there's something about your strength that has been attempted to be taken from you, maybe like earlier in your life, or you were born into a family where like personal power was seen as something that was like unhelpful to wield or something like that, like there's like a guilt over wielding personal power. And the Three of Cups really gives you the permission to bask in your enjoyment and recognize that like your enjoyment of your work is just as valuable as the disciplined aspects of your work. And also that your fears and these like misunderstood parts of you are actually what often give you that really potent power. This unashamed power as well. And you have the King of Pentacles too. So for you, this is also just a really like a strong permission to create, to make what you care about, make it tangible in whatever way you can. And also to continue to like put it out there. So there's something about with the coiled snake, like knowing again with this like owl, like when to strike, when is the time to release. For a lot of you, I'm seeing like elective astrology as being really important for you, like divining when the energy is right for your specific project to come into the world. So like let's say your project has to do with like helping people understand their intuition and work with their intuition. You might want to elect a day to release it that's maybe like a Monday because it's ruled by the moon, and maybe it's at an hour where the moon is in a harmonious sign, like aspecting a planet harmoniously like Venus, that might help to increase the amount of value that people are going to place on this thing. So there's something about like being just intentional about how you're manifesting something from like this overarching perspective, and you're seeing kind of through the darkness or through the difficulties that you may have with expressing and trying to bypass some of that, or like play the earth game a little bit. So for some of you, this is about like learning more about like how to do social media or how to like market your work in a new way that kind of cuts through some of the barriers that you may have been experiencing when releasing your work previously. And so if you're not necessarily looking to release your creative work, it does feel like this is something maybe around the actual ritual of when you create it. If this is just like personal creative gifts or creative interests that you have. And so for, as I'm reading for a group, there's many of you that are going to be tuning in and watching this for your own desired experiences, but there's definitely something here about making sure that no matter what you're doing, just make it happen. Even if you're doing it in a way that feels like it's silly, like there's this woman here who is, completely in the nude, or this person completely in the nude, and so there's something here about being vulnerable, and kind of like riding the waves, like having fun with it, and just letting whatever comes out come out, so that you can at least see it and then like learn how to work with it over time. Okay, so let's see your final message here from the Earth Alchemy Oracle, and you have the card of Obsidian and Hellbore, Shadow Mirror, with the fire and water elements. So definitely there's something about just using your creative energy also to transmute. For a lot of you, that's also what I'm feeling with that snake, with this 3 of Cups, like in the owl here. Like there's something kind of deeper and darker that wants to be explored through the themes of your creative work, things that really have deep meaning to you, that do represent like archetypal powers that are lying dormant in your unconscious. Like there's just something about like doing the shadow work through your creative work and like being able to see that reflected back to you. And so that's why you can't really control the outcome of how it's going to be expressed at this time, because this says deep healing, understanding, and seer. So there's something that you're going to be uncovering. There's something like a layer of reality that you're going to be peeling back through your creative pursuits. And it will also in some ways be protecting you through maybe a dark period, or through a time where you've been really having to cultivate and gather a lot of your strength to really recognize what your true power is, and then see that manifested outward back into the world. And so I do feel like some of your creative power is going to be reflected back to you through this process. It's just about like allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to find that healing that you need. So I'm also feeling called to look in the guidebook for this card as well. Yeah, the guidebook for this card is talking about like that you just simply are. There doesn't have to be these judgments. There can be a balance between the dark and the light. And so it's important for you to anchor yourself into love through those judgments, and allowing you to like bring trapped pain. That's what it's calling it, like pain that's trapped within the body, to like come forward, unravel this pain. And there's something about grandmother spider. So maybe if you are interested in Native American cosmology, looking into Spider Woman or grandmother spider and just seeing what the symbolism in that represents. This is talking about drawing out, purifying, and detoxifying. There's also mentioning Set or Isis. So she may be important to you as well. There's a lot of deities in this group that you could be working with. Even the god Pan with this goat here, or yeah, other deities that are more like in the demonic realms. But always approach any deity energy with lots of protection, and obsidian can be a beautiful way to do that. And this is saying that these different forms of obsidian can be used to protect and shield you if you are trying to do more esoteric work or shamanic journeying, which a lot of you I feel like are maybe interested in looking into how that might help you with your creative work, help you with having creative visions, or even just creative sensations in you to help you break through any pain blockages. And this is also saying that you can just clear lots of like shadows and like past life issues and lineage issues, and detoxify your life essentially, and help you to protect yourself in healing. Because even hellebore is like a poison, but there is always functions of poison to help detoxify, clear out, and cleanse. But when taken in too high of a dose, it can, of course, cleanse you of life, which is not what we want to do. So this is saying that this is a time of release and allowing yourself to recognize that your power can be both used for creation and destruction. And I think that that's such a beautiful message for you at this time, because this allows you to recognize that it does have purpose here in this world, even if it feels uncomfortable or doesn't look beautiful in the way that we expect creative energy to manifest. There is beauty in it, and you are loved and guided by the divine, by your spirit guides, and by many forces of harmony in the universe that want to see you be in balance with the rest of creation. So that is all I am feeling for you, my beautiful group 2. Continue being strong. Thank you so very much for doing this work for yourself and on behalf of our collective. It is such an honor to be your guide during this time. I'm sending you so much love, sending so much gratitude to you and your spirit guides for this beautiful message today. I will see you again in another reading, my friend. Bye. Last but not least, my beautiful pile 3. Thank you so very much for being here. If you selected this little raw rose quartz, this is your reading. And we're going to get right on started with your reading about your creative energy and where you can put your creative focus at this time. So with this rose quartz energy, it just feels like there is so much love around you. There's almost like a heart chakra opening. I don't know if some of you have just been creating with others, or just in this like energy of new love. Maybe some of you have new pets in your life or a new family member. If so, congratulations. But there's just something about like new and deepening connections that are really inspiring you creatively. And I also am feeling like there's something about like a wonderment for your environment, for the things around you, like just being kind of lit up with new insights and inspiration. And maybe even for some of you, the inspiration to go and pick up some old projects that maybe you weren't sure if you were going to continue them. It just feels like there's like a reinvigoration. So let's see what your main oracle card from the Kantaji Oracle wants to say to you today. We have a fierce desert flower. So yeah, there's definitely something about like your creative energy resurging despite all odds is kind of the phrase that I'm hearing. Because it feels like there could have been something that in your recent past almost like knocked you down in terms of your courage, in your creative gifts, in like seeing the point almost of like the purpose of your creativity. Okay, I had to pause a moment, so if you heard the bells, that's why. But it gave me a moment to kind of check in on the guidebook's description of this card, and this is talking about coming forward and finding those creative gifts despite all odds of like, maybe you became obsessed with something, or you were taken into some type of, there were a lot of demands on you in the workplace or from certain relationships in your life. And so it just feels like your creative energy really had to persevere, as well as kind of remain hidden in some ways. And this may have been how you felt like if this wasn't a recent experience, this could have been something like through your childhood, like maybe you were really creative, but then I've heard so many horror stories of people going into school for art and then like their creativity gets stifled, or somebody says something about their creativity that's just a projection and then they take it to heart. There's lots of different ways that our creativity is essentially killed like in society. At least the American society that I'm living in, I've definitely seen a lot of it. And so there's something here about like your ability, your tenacity, your ability to, bloom despite these trying conditions in your life, or these hostile conditions to your creativity, is like a really marvelous thing. And it's saying that like yeah, like you've developed like a tough skin and an attitude of resilience that is just going to help your creativity to continue to blossom. And so for some of you, I'm seeing you like as writers, um, as storytellers, as even like I'm seeing somebody going outside and like skating. So there's lots of different types of like expressions of creativity and joy in this group that I feel like some of you haven't even fully recognized are expressions of creativity, because they may not be the traditional like what we think of with creativity, but there's a lot of like resilience coming forward in this group, and that's why it feels like maybe there's something new in your life that's giving you renewed hope in this creative gift. And it's saying that this bloom is actually like somewhat a defiance against the hostility in your life. And so it feels like your creative gifts right now and the ways that you should be directing your creative focus should be focused on like something that is slightly rebellious or something that is making a statement that goes against the norms or what might be comfortable for the people around you or your audience. It's just doing something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, but is still a really genuine, authentic expression of you. Let's see, the keynotes are saying thriving in harsh conditions, ardent vibrance in what appears to be a barren situation. Yes, so some of you may even be sitting here like, I'm not even that creative. Like, I don't know why I clicked on this video, but, I just felt drawn to it. And this is why. This is a confirmation that your creative self is like, really really doing everything it can to survive, despite maybe even attempts or blatant like self-sabotage on your part. And so if you're in that group, like totally no shame, like every creative goes through these moments of self-sabotage in their life. But this is definitely like an affirmation that your creative energy still lives in you, no matter how much you've torn it down, no matter how much you've devalued it, no matter how much the outside world has tried to devalue your creative abilities. It still lives within you and is something that is innate to your being and will survive no matter how much you get pulled into having to work like double shifts at work, or feeling like your creative energy is drained by like having to tend to these relationships in your life, or different things like that. Like anything that can and will take your creative energy sometimes does. But this is saying that you have the fierceness to continue to thrive and to continue to find the resources that you need to express yourself. So for some of you, this is talking about maybe literal lack of resources for what you want to, or what you need to be able to create. And this is saying that no matter what, as long as you don't give up on trying to like send those roots down into the earth, like you will find that water, you will get that taproot, like you will find the resources that you need. And for a lot of you, this has to do with like projects that you want to manifest, and others of you, this is talking about just your basic like everyday needs and like your psychological and spiritual well-being. And this is like an affirmation that you are getting through that, and that focusing your creative energy right now is going to help you to recognize this resilience and this attitude of gratitude that carries you through, that is allowing you to create beauty out of like really trying and difficult circumstances. So this is saying that, yeah, there's something in your life that is exploding in beauty and that is really just like allowing you to experience and be enraptured in joy in a way that I think that a lot of you didn't think was possible. Maybe some of you are starting to get recognized for your creative abilities for the first time, and you really just didn't think you were even capable of this. There's just something about you surpassing your own expectations and the divine surprising you with beautiful blessings and gifts that are beyond your wildest dreams, is kind of what I'm hearing. So yeah, there's like something really beautiful that's growing, and it's going to come forward despite the maybe appearance that there is no hope for something. And I feel like for some of you, this has to do with health, this has to do with relationships, like career. There's lots of different areas where this can apply for this group. And then the practice that's standing out to me is practicing gratitude. This is going to really help you to not give into powerlessness and not feel like you are at the mercy of a situation, and that you can and have every right to embody that divine creator energy in your life, and recognize that you can affect change in even the most hopeless of situations, or the seemingly hopeless of situations. And so this is, just saying that like innovation and creativity allows you to like get through and recognize your strengths, even in times where it feels like you don't have any strengths. So let's see what the tarot has to say, the Hush Tarot. I'm not going to take reversals today. And so you have this beautiful, brilliant green color. So definitely the heart chakra. I feel like there's like been a heart awakening for you, a recognition that love is the ultimate law of life. It's something that comes through at any given moment, in any given situation. It's something that we can always access, no matter what the outward world is maybe projecting back to us. There's always this center of love that we can find within ourselves, and this is a very enlightening experience. There's something just about like a breakthrough in this group. And the Seven of Pentacles is showing that the more that you just hang on a little bit, the more that you continue to just invest in your creativity, even just believing in yourself, even if you haven't shared your creativity, this is something that is a gift to the world and a gift to yourself, and it's going to open doors for you in the future. I know for me as a creative, when I first started creating and expressing myself and believing in my creativity, I thought that it would be, maybe a year it would take me to like really be recognized as an artist. And it took me a few years. Like definitely it was quicker than some folks and how they have to experience the waiting period of creativity. But it's so funny because you expect it to happen so quick, and then you get on the other side and you've been waiting a little while, and it's like, I'm really glad I had this time to really develop and develop my relationship to my creativity and keep it as something that was sacred for a little while. So I feel like there's something here about like your spirit guide saying like you are on a journey, you are in a process, and like it's important for you to be going through this time where you're really recognizing and developing your creativity, whatever that might be. And it's important for you to continue practicing gratitude for those times, even when you make mistakes or things don't work out in the way that you expected them to. With the Hierophant as well, I'm seeing that there are keys on both of these, and I was going to say crows on both of them, but it's actually not. There's sparrows and crows. So those two might be significant for you, but these keys are definitely important. So Hecate may be important for you. Just got to point that out there. And then also desert goddesses in particular. I don't know too many off the top of my head, but desert goddesses might be something you could look into. But those keys are definitely a sign of Hecate at work in your life. Maybe you want to work with her. She's the goddess of the crossroads. I'm a devotee, love Hecate. But she's definitely a beautiful, beautiful goddess to work with, especially if you're at a point where, you're trying to get through and move from surviving to thriving. She's, the guide of the wayward soul. So there's definitely a sense of her watching over. There's this bloom again, kind of being mirrored from this card. So definitely like roses or desert flowers. Important. Maybe even working with cactus or flowers in general. Offering flowers. If you do want to work with Hecate, that might be a way to connect with her in the first place. But with the Hierophant here too, this is saying that there is like a higher power or a divine order or a structure that has to do with your creativity and where you can put your focus. So for some of you, this is going to be like applying to schools or applying for grants or scholarships, or even like internships or work opportunities that have to do with your creativity. And for others of you, this is talking about having a higher blessing over your creative endeavors, and seeing that there is a higher power kind of orchestrating and saying, you know, giving you kind of like the yes or the no, like the divine permission in a way over like what you want to pursue. And with the Hierophant too, I just feel like there's something just about that road being open for you. Like that's really what I'm getting with that, like even that permission energy. It's like the road is being opened. It's just a matter of like recognizing that your strength is in your commitment to this. And if this is also about creating relationships in your life that are supportive and helpful, and it's celebrating those, it's recognizing that you do have other forms of like support, whether it be institutionalized or not, that can help you to create this structure that will help you sustain this like energy of nurturing and blossoming and even reseeding when the time comes, like when the bloom is ready to turn into a fruit and bear seeds for the next cycle. Like there's a lot of like this energy of kind of finding the key to regeneration in your life and allowing your creative energy to regenerate even though it's just rebirthed. Which is so beautiful. So let's see your final card. Wow, 2 of the darkest cards in this deck came out today. So this is definitely the Imbolc energy. This is the dark period where we are finally going to start moving back into the light with the sun returning. And I just love that. This is, of course, a timeless reading, like I said in the intro. But it feels like for you, this time period with Numite and Black Dahlia, the void, this is earth and air. This says ego shattering, soul fragments, and emptying. This is a time of release, of letting go of the hostility, letting go of the narratives that have been created through trauma, letting go of these narratives of, you know, I'm not an artist, I'm not creative, like these, I don't even like saying that, like there's just these like mental patterns that are there that are these limiting beliefs in some ways that are not true representations of your creative power. And so it's like your spirit guides are wanting you to go into the void and recognize that anything is possible in the void, and these desolate places are actually some of the most inspiring. And I think that's what you've been learning through that desert flower. Fierce desert flower energy is like you can create something from nothing. And that is the most beautiful spiritual gift that you can ever have. And that is a spiritual energy that is available to all of us because we are all a part of the Creator. We all have that Creator essence within us. And so the void is saying like that ego is trying to tell you what you are and what you are not. But maybe it's time to just be and to allow a new path to open and to commit yourself to, you know, whatever this requires of you. In terms of like your funneling your creative energy into something and seeing it bear fruit in your life, because nothing is ever fully dead, or nothing is too late to be remade or made new, and to find new creative life and to find its ability to blossom. So that is all I am seeing for you, my beautiful group 3. I just saw 1717 on the timer, so that could be a angel number for you at this time. I'm sending you so much love, so much gratitude. Thank you so very much for doing this work on behalf of yourself and the rest of the collective. I want to thank your spirit guides, my spirit guides, and every other being in the universe that brought us together for this beautiful reading. I will see you in another reading, my friend.